In New York City, Lucy Mirando speaks to a board of investors at her inauguration as the new CEO of the Mirando Corporation. She has just taken over her family's worldwide company from her twin sister, Nancy. Lucy wants to erase this image that her father and sister have created for their company, and replace it with an image that cares for all men and animals. She announces a new project that will revolutionize the food industry as we know it. The company has found a new breed of a natural-born super pig and has naturally bred it to give birth to 26 different piglets. The plan is to send each piglet to a farm in every country, and have farmers raise the pig by their own natural means. She adds that this will be a competition to see who can raise the very best super pig, which will be unveiled at their grand opening. Lucy has brought on TV personality/zoologist Dr. Johnny Wilcox to be the face of her company. She promises to everyone that the pigs are non-genetic modified and are eco-friendly. When asked how long this project will take, she answers that it will take 10 years. She says that it will be worth it because they want the pig to taste fucking good. 10 years later, in Korea, we see a 14-year-old girl, Mija, with a giant super pig whom she calls Okja. Okja is roughly the size of an elephant and looks like one too, if not for its hippopotamus-like snout. She is also very strong and can roll down a hill into a tree without getting hurt. Mija lives alone with her grandfather on top of a mountain farm ever since her parents died. Mija loves Okja like family and takes good care of her and plays with her in the mountains where they live. The pair pick fruit together and catch fish. When Mija's grandfather calls them home, Mija accidentally slips, leading her to fall while holding onto a rope attached to Okja. Okja could almost not hold on to the rope as he too was slipping down. With amazing ingenuity, Okja wrangles Mija back up, saving her life at the detriment of falling off the cliff. Mija immediately goes to search for Okja and finds her alive. Mija responds by hugging Okja. That night, while Mija and her grandfather eat dinner, her grandfather mentions that Mr. Mundo, Mirando's representative that checks in on Okja's growth, will be coming the next day. Mija asks if her grandfather paid Mundo the money so they can keep Okja, and her grandfather says he did. Mija goes to sleep in Okja's massive arms. The following day, Mundo arrives, accompanied by the famous television zoologist, Dr. Johnny Wilcox, who is there to inspect Okja for the contest. Mundo asks Mija to retrieve Okja's small monitoring device attached to her ear, while Johnny, known for his loud and obnoxious personality, begrudgingly ascends the mountain to see the pig. However, his demeanor changes entirely when he sets eyes on Okja. He enthusiastically orders his crew to start filming, declaring Okja the clear winner destined for New York City. Mija and her grandfather, who do not understand English, catch the word, New York, from Johnny's excited ramblings. After conferring with Mundo, Mija's grandfather takes her to visit her parents' graves while the crew conducts various tests. During this visit, her grandfather presents her with a small golden pig, a symbol of her transition into adulthood, harking back to a time when elders gifted such pigs to girls about to marry. Mija inquires about the situation, prompting her grandfather to reveal that Okja is being taken away, a plan he hoped to soften with the golden pig. He further explains that Okja will spend the night in Seoul before embarking on a journey to America for the contest. Upset by this revelation, Mija runs away. That night, she packs a few belongings, the golden pig, and Okja's favorite fruits into a fanny pack, along with her entire piggy bank savings, and informs her grandfather of her intention to go to Seoul. He attempts to dissuade her, sharing the grim fate that awaits Okja as food, but Mija remains resolute. Mija takes buses and subways until she finally gets to the Mirando Company building stationed in Seoul. She knocks on a big glass door and asks an obnoxious receptionist to see Mundo, but the receptionist just calls security to send someone up to escort Mija away. Determined, Mija breaks through the glass door and runs through the office building as security chases her. She finds plenty of pictures of Okja, but not Mundo. She looks outside and sees them loading Okja into a truck. Mundo takes a few pictures with Okja and has her strapped in with a few animal handlers. Okja clearly does not want to go. Mundo gets into the truck's cab with a young driver who doesn't like his job and is annoyed at Mundo's peppiness. As they drive away, Mija comes up close behind. Amazingly, she runs at pace with the truck and climbs aboard, banging on the walls so Okja can hear her. Okja responds to the situation by wailing loudly. Abruptly, another truck pulls up next to Mirando's vehicle, with both the driver and passenger donning ski masks. Despite their cheerful demeanor, they inform Mundo and the Mirando driver that they are not terrorists and abhor violence, urging them to halt their actions. When their peaceful message fails to register, the masked men let out sighs of frustration and ram their truck into Mirando's, bringing it to a halt and causing Mija to tumble off. They emerge from their truck, joined by more individuals in masks, swiftly opening Okja's doors and disarming the handlers. Once Okja is freed from her chains, she becomes agitated and unruly, prompting the masked group to attempt to calm her down. Meanwhile, their leader sprays words onto the front of Mirando's truck. In the midst of this chaos, Mija calls out to Okja, and they reunite before making a hasty escape. The masked leader spots Mija and instructs his crew to get into their truck and follow them. Mundo is visibly upset, while the truck driver finds the situation amusing, blaming Mirando for the chaos. Mundo commands the handlers to pursue Okja, initiating a chase. Mija leads a frightened Okja through a shopping mall in an attempt to evade the police and Mundo. After crashing into a store, the masked individuals enter the scene and shield Okja from the police. They pick up Mija, who is badly injured, and explain to her that they're the good guys with ALF, Animal Liberation Front, an animal rights group that has been organizing attacks against food companies and slaughterhouses like Mirando for 40 years and hate violence. They all run with Okja into their truck as they escape the authorities. As the truck drives, Mija sits with Okja as the thieves wonder what to do with her because she doesn't fit in with their plan. Their leader steps forward and takes off his mask and introduces himself as Jay. His fellow members do the same and introduce themselves. K, a Korean who acts as Mija's translator, blonde, a big wisecracking man, red, a snarky woman, and Silver, a man who is so devoted to nature that he refuses to eat because it will leave a carbon footprint, which ends up making him sick most of the time. Mija introduces herself, and when asked how long she's been with Okja, Mija tells them since she was 4 years old, making it all of Okja's life. Touched, Jay decides to explain to her that Mirando lied when they said Okja and her mother were born naturally when they really were from a petri dish in New Jersey. He takes out a black box, similar to the one on Okja's ear, and tells her it's really a camera so they could switch it with Okja's black box and reveal to the world what really happens in the factories that Okja is going to. The contest is just a publicity stunt while all of the pigs, weigh more than just 26, are to be processed and chopped up to be sold worldwide. Knowing how dangerous this mission is and how much Mija cares for Okja, Jay asks her for permission to use Okja for the mission. The rest of the crew is dismayed when they hear this because it will be all of their hard work down the drain, but Jay is adamant because Mija is Okja's family. They relent and Kay asks her in Korean if she will let them take Okja for the mission. Mija says no, but Kay doesn't want to abort because they're so close and lies and tells them she said yes. Jay and the crew are ecstatic and hug her, telling her it's for a good cause. They switch out the black box and open the doors to the moving truck as it passes over water and jump out one by one. Kay, who feels slightly guilty, quickly tells her to learn English before leaving Mija with Okja as the police move in. In New York, Lucy and her crew view viral footage of Okja and Mija running through Seoul. Lucy fears that this will bring backlash to her company since there are images of Mirando associates forcefully carrying Mija away. Lucy's associate Frank Dawson helps her come up with an idea to have Mija and Okja reunited in New York City to bring back good publicity. Johnny becomes upset when Lucy says she wants to make Mija the new face of the Mirando Corporation. She dismisses his complaints and has her team do damage control. Lucy envisions the whole ordeal as touching as they reunite a girl and her pet on stage, like a fairy tale. Lucy says they can even make her the new face of Mirando in their marketing campaign. Her assistant, Jenny, Shirley Henderson, makes all the arrangements as Mija is released from jail and is prepped to go to America, the company representatives telling her grandfather that she will make them a lot of money, and a lot of photo ops as Korea sends their little farmer princess to New York. Mija, who at this point does not trust anyone and is very angry, constantly demands to speak to Okja on the phone, much to everyone's confusion. Meanwhile, the ALF are following Okja's signal through their black box camera and are getting the video feed. They are all excited that they will soon unveil what really happens behind closed doors. In a darkened room that looks like it was from the set of the Saw movie franchise, a drunk Johnny has handlers bring Okja in using cattle prods. He is very upset that this pig will be taking away his fame from the company and acknowledges that while Lucy said Okja isn't to be harmed, he won't kill her. As ALF watches, Johnny brings a bigger super pig into the room to forcibly mate with Okja. They feel instant regret for sending Okja in there. K then admits that he lied about Mija letting them go through with their mission because he felt the mission needed to proceed as planned. J then starts viciously kicking and beating K for his deception. He bans him from the ALF. Meanwhile, Johnny is preparing to use a device that extracts meat from cows without killing them, as the phone rings. It's Mija who has been demanding to speak to Okja. Hearing her voice, Okja howls and scares Johnny, who smashes the phone in fear. Upset because he too loves animals, or so he says, Johnny extracts sausage-sized meat from Okja to be grilled immediately. Miranda films people eating the meat and loving it. Mija, who has taken K's advice and has been learning some English, is getting dressed by Miranda's stylists. Jenny gives her an outfit to wear, but Mija won't do anything until she sees Okja. Annoyed, Jenny tells her that they own the pig and if she plays ball, then she can see Okja. Upset, Mija goes into a room to change, only to find Jay standing there in disguise. By using signs with translations on them, Jay tells her that they're sorry for what they did. He tells her that they are going to free Okja during the ceremony, and will take Mija and Okja home. He warns her not to look back at the TV screens since they plan to show everyone what they filmed, and Jay doesn't want to expose all that to Mija, especially after all that she's been through. He tells her that the group loves her and will be with her, giving her hope. Jay slips out the window and makes sure everyone is in position. Lucy receives flowers from Frank as congratulations for running the company for 10 years. Lucy says that she does feel guilty about lying to everyone about where the pigs really come from, but it's for the best since people freak out over genetic mutations. When Frank reveals that Nancy is in town and that the flowers are from her, Lucy gets upset. She made it clear Nancy had to stay away because Nancy scares people since she reminds them of her father. A parade is held in the city streets in honor of Okja being crowned the best super pig. The ALF are in disguise as civilians and participants to carry out their plan. Super pig meat is also being given out in the streets. Johnny goes on stage to bring Lucy out for her to introduce Okja and Mija. Mija is shocked to find Okja with bloodshot eyes and cuts on her snout. Jay gives the word for the video to be played and steps onto the stage in an effort to help Mija control Okja and to keep her eyes away from the screens. The crowd is horrified by the video of Johnny mistreating Okja and boo and throwing things at him. In a restaurant nearby, Frank, who is with Nancy, notes the debacle and suggests that Nancy step in, to which she agrees. Okja is still running wild and bites Mija. In anger out of Okja's violence, and to save Mija, Jay runs to hit Okja, but Mija stops him. Jay sees that Okja has calmed down and gets his crew ready to move as Okja nuzzles Mija and licks her wounds, literally, as Mija whispers into Okja's ear. Suddenly, Miranda's elite security squad rushes in, forcing everyone to flee. Jay and his crew try and lead Mija and Okja away, but get cornered and beaten by the squad. Just when all hope is lost, a truck pulls up and saves the pair. Lying down and bleeding, Jay sees that it is none other than Kay, who has come back despite Jay's ban, and rushes them to medical care as they drive to the factory. When Mija awakens and asks where they're going, Jay tells her they're going to get Okja. Lucy, meanwhile, is devastated that her publicity failed as chaos reigns in the streets. Nancy walks up and tells her that she forgot what a loser Lucy was, and remarks that while their father was a terrible man, he was a brilliant businessman. Lucy tells her to have fun cleaning up her mess, to which Nancy replies she can dress up as Lucy and go in front of the press to make a public apology. She tells Frank to start killing the pigs immediately, even Okja. At the factory, Jay tries to hold Mija back from the horrific sight of hundreds of super pigs being corralled by electric fences and cattle prods, but Mija doesn't care. She, Jay and Kay begin searching for Okja as security rushes to find them, with Black Chalk only minutes away. Mija finally finds Okja as she is being herded into the factory. Mija rushes in to see dead pigs being hung, stripped, and ripped in half. She runs up to where a worker kills the super pigs and loads them onto a conveyor belt. As Mija watches in horror, Okja is led towards the worker to be killed. Mija yells for him to stop and produces a picture of her with Okja when they were younger, and Okja was no bigger than a pet dog. As the worker stares at the picture, Nancy, Frank, Jay, Kay and the black chalk come in. Jay tries to protect Mija but is apprehended along with Kay. In English, Mija asks Nancy why she wants to kill Okja. Nancy haughtily tells her that people won't eat pigs unless they're dead and that she owns Okja and can do whatever she wants. As Jay and Kay are being led away, Jay tells her that while he cares for every living creature, both human and non-human, she is the exception. Nancy doesn't care and gives the order to kill Okja. Mija cries out for her to wait and produces the golden pig her grandfather gave her. Mija says she wants to buy Okja alive. Nancy agrees to the deal and tells Frank to arrange safe passage for Mija and Okja to go home. As they are led outside, Mija looks back to hear the killings have continued and all of these pigs will suffer the same fate. She then notices two super pigs struggling to lift the electric fence just enough so their baby can get out. The baby squeals and begins to make a ruckus, and Mija looks to hide the piglet before the guards can see. Quickly, Okja opens her mouth and hides the piglet inside before anyone notices. Back in Seoul, Mija lives in harmony with her grandfather, Okja, and the piglet, who has become an adorable addition to their family. Okja motions to Mija, who puts her ear next to Okja's mouth. Okja whispers and Mija smiles. In America, Jay is released from prison and is greeted by Kay. On a public bus, Kay tells him that their numbers have grown and how excited they are about their next job. He introduces their newest member from Seoul, the former Mirando truck driver, who is a gleeful addition and is quite the chatterbox. The former driver sits down next to Red, Blonde, and Silver, who are also on the bus. Kay tells him that they are almost at their stop and Mirando will be there too, including Nancy. Jay gives the signal and everyone on the bus puts on ski masks. The end. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video and also leave a like and comment. See you next time.